Hi, welcome to Growth Marketing Chat. Sorry, I'm going to redo this because I hesitated. Um, Hi, welcome to Growth Marketing Chat. Today I'm here with Charles. Charles, it happens once in a while. I just like. Hi, welcome to Growth Marketing Chat. Today I'm here with Charles Givery. He's the founder and CEO of DataDistillr. Charles, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So before we start, I'd love for you to give us a little of background on your company. Like, when did you start it? What do you guys do? That'd be awesome.
Sure. So my company is called DataDistillr, and our mission is to make the world's data easy to use and query. I co-founded our company in kind of Q3 fall-ish timeframe of last year. So we're born from the pandemic, and yeah, we've been kind of going strong ever since.
Awesome. Okay, so you're kind of in your first year still, or beginning of your second year? Um,
We're still in our first year, really.
yeah, and so that's a very interesting year for companies, as you know, obviously you have a great product already, but there's so much more to your vision in your first year than there is to the current product. So my question for you is like, how do you sell based on that, and how do you balance, you know, what you have versus the vision as well?
It's quite challenging, especially because it's a data product, and our target audience is not just individual users, but it's large enterprises. So enterprises like to get fully baked products, and it's difficult when your product is still kind of, a bit hand wavy. It's like, what you're going to make, but it's just not there yet. So a lot of it is you really have to at least in my opinion, what we've had to do is clearly articulate our value proposition, clearly articulate where we are in that, and kind of help get people to buy the vision rather than necessarily the product. And I mean, not to say that we're selling vaporware, because we're certainly not. Our product is very functional. It is very powerful where it is already. But a lot of it is trying to basically convince people of what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so again, in the early stage, right, for product companies, especially when you're selling to enterprise, it's really important to find really good partners that will help you build on your vision, right, with their feedback, and
Mhm.
make your vision even better. So how do you go about finding these partners?
We've been doing that a number of different ways. So we have a director of growth who also has a podcast, and he is very good at kind of getting audiences before decision makers at large companies. I have a fairly robust LinkedIn network, so I've been blogging and trying to putting the word out there. But really, what we do is, I think a lot of it comes from my leadership team. We have a lot of experience in the data world, and we kind of know what problems people are really having, and so we can really explain it at a real, with authenticity, how our product is really going to solve their problems. And I think that plays a big part in kind of how, getting people to talk to us, and then once they are speaking to us, kind of knowing, well, even though they may not spell something out explicitly, kind of knowing what they're thinking, understanding where they're coming from, and anticipating what they're going to ask, and kind of having good answers for their questions. And again, I think that comes from the fact that our leadership team really has a lot of experience, not just at a technical level, but having sat on the other side of the table. I was at JP Morgan, and before that Deutsche Bank, and I've talked to many startups, and been part of the process where we've brought in companies to work at those organizations. So I know what it's from the other side of the table. So when you have that experience, you can kind of apply that, and make sure that we're prepared when we go into conversations with large enterprise.
Right, right, right. I mean, really understanding the pain and being able to talk to your customers and your partners and your prospect at that same level that they're at really makes a difference, right?
Yeah, and I think also, one of the things that, I mean, my personal view is, you don't want to be disingenuous in terms of misrepresenting what the status of your product is, or because I know, some people basically say anything to get a sale, but at some point you have to deliver. And so you don't want to promise something that you can't deliver. And because I think that just really kills any hope you may have with, if you're trying to build a long-term relationship.
Yeah, yeah, and you can create real loyalty from this, right? And customer loyalty, and if people fall in love with your vision, your mission, your product, then you're gonna grow, right? But if you sell them something that doesn't exist,
Hmm.
then they might fall in love with your vision, but they won't fall in love with the product, and like all this effort is kind of wasted.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm also a very big believer. So we as a company made the choice early on to invest in a lot of user experience work, and just to make sure that our product not only functions really beautifully, but looks beautiful. And it doesn't look like something that was thrown together. It really has a feel of a very mature product. And unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, people do judge books by their cover. It is important, at least it's important to me, that our product looks really well, looks really great, it functions really great, it's intuitive and easy to use. And I think so many companies don't, especially for enterprise products, less so for consumer products, but they don't pay attention to those little details. And I also do think that makes a difference. Every time we show our products to people, people always comment on how I'll use the word beautiful, how it looks, and it just feels really intuitive, and it just looks really nice and mature, even though it's still not yet. But um,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, it's really important when you think about your users, right? They are going to be in your product, hopefully, for a long time during their day,
mhm,
right? How do you want them to
mhm,
feel when they're in your product? Hopefully, you want them to feel good, right?
mhm.
Happy, excited to be there,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. I want them to feel happy. I want them to have a good user experience. I want them to feel smarter for having used our tool. I want them to feel good about, like, feel that they're getting their job done more quickly, more efficiently. Yeah, those are all, that's all part of the user experience. And that is exactly why we chose to, put a decent amount of effort into the UX early on.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's definitely really important for growth in general, and especially when you start showing your product off. Okay, so I guess to conclude here, I know that you mentioned, you have a director of growth or a head of growth that has a podcast, and you have a huge presence on LinkedIn and blogging, and your leadership team is really involved in kind of creating this high level credibility and awareness. Can you tell us more about, like, it's something that a lot of companies, especially early stage, struggle with, because it's a really great channel, but it doesn't necessarily have direct results, and it takes a lot of effort to bring to a certain level. So can you tell us more about how you decided to invest time in this, how it's been working for you, and if you have any advice for people like who are in your shoes, who are trying to decide, should I invest
Sure.
in this?
Sure. I've professionally, even before I launched my company, I've spent a lot of time on LinkedIn, with professional networking, and I've seen it from my own career, how many opportunities I've gotten just as a result of doing personal networking on LinkedIn. And so for me, it was kind of just a natural transition. Like, okay, now I'm doing this. Now I'm, you know, promoting my company effectively, not just me and the things that I'm interested in. But I think my advice to somebody who's doing this is, first off, it doesn't happen overnight. There's no way you can do this overnight. It has to be something you build over time. But the other piece that I would say is just put yourself out there, get yourself comfortable doing that, talk about things that are on your mind. In my view, I think it's better if it comes across as authentic. You can, of course, hire people to, like, work your LinkedIn feed for you. And
Mm-hmm.
I did that for a little while, and I could really see, like, they're good at getting connections, but it doesn't like, if you saw the post that person posted for me, it doesn't sound like me. It's not like, it doesn't have that ring of authenticity. So putting yourself out there consistently, having content that's interesting and engaging with people. I think that's really I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything revolutionary here, but what I started doing actually, and I've been surprised at the following I get from this, is I started blogging about my experience as a founder. And I started just writing like, here's what's going on. And it's, some of it's mundane stuff, some of it's interesting, some of it's not. But it really it's interesting to me because the number of conversations that I've had with people, well, they'll start off the meeting with, oh, I just read your blog post and it was really interesting when you talked about that. And it's really just like, it shows me the reach that you can have even with something as small like as that. And I mean, we've gotten leads from this. We've gotten, serious introductions. I've been invited to conferences. I've been hired to teach classes and give lectures. I mean, the list goes on and on, just from simple, organic LinkedIn work that I've done. So I think, I guess if I were to sum it up, be authentic. It takes time, and just, go for it and put yourself out there consistently. There has to be consistent. It can't just be like a blast and forget about it for 4 months. So that's, and don't spam people. They don't like that.
Yes, please don't spam people. All right. Well, thank you, Charles. It was really great. I really enjoyed our conversation, and thank you so much for participating.
Thank you very much.